We're Stephen and Mandy.
Pow pow. We are so very ordinary. Even hands won't fit.
And together,
Well, mostly what we just did was make a lot of mistakes.
we are.
Oh, I messed something up. Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
The Anker Design Co.
Yes.
We had to pause the video to have a fight.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for being with us here in our basement. We're building a flower box today. And really there's just a few steps to it. If you've never built anything like this, that's okay.
We use 1x6s. Typically, window boxes should be a little deeper than that. So if you have access to a 1x8 instead, you could use that. But what we need to do first, we're gonna make our cuts. This window box is just basically a bottom, sides, and then a front and a back. That's it. We'll show you how we mount it. We have a brick house, so we're gonna mount it a little bit differently than you would if you have siding.
Right.
Because we're gonna use the bricks to anchor our window box attachments. If you have siding, you're gonna need to find the studs and screw into the studs to anchor it. If you don't know what a stud is,
That's okay. Because Google it.
look up wall studs. If you just look up stud,
It's not a safe Google search. Don't just search.
who knows what'll come.
Certainly don't click on Google Images. There's no telling how that'll go. Or it'll just be
Alright.
a picture of us. One of the two.
Let's dive in. You can do it! Because of our budget, which is tight, we're using treated lumber. A lot of times you can get lumber that's not treated with anything to make it weatherproof, like cedar. This was maybe $6, I think, a board. So that's why we went with this. They're not exactly the size we wanted. They're not even the finish we wanted, but we're gonna make it work and make it beautiful with what we have at our fingertips. And that's a big part of doing things yourself. And I enjoy that part of the job. Have you been drinking again?
Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk through how you figure out what width your pieces of lumber should be. The front and the back, those are just going to be the exact width of your window, whatever the width of your specific window is. The bottom piece is going to be whatever your window is minus 3 inches. And then the two side pieces, those are the exact width of whatever the dimensional lumber is that you've bought. So like for us, we had 1x6s, which means that the actual width is 5.5. Yours might vary. The first step in the instructions is to cut two pieces at 5.5 inches for our two sides. You just want to cut a little bit off the end just to make sure you're starting with a square edge, and then we'll measure and we'll cut the two sides. So what I do when I'm making this first cut, I just try to make sure that I'm here pretty close to the edge. Like, you don't want to waste a bunch of your material. One thing you should definitely do is make sure your saw goes all the way back. So they need to be at 5.5 inches. 5.5, I throw a mark. A lot of times people will tell you to do like a little bit of like a triangle. It's whatever you want to do, whatever's going to allow you to get the mark right. And then I just put my speed square on, go right down, and now I've got a perfect mark at 5.5. One. Knock down our second one. Let's double check ourselves. 5.5.
We're going to start assembling this. I have the bottom piece here, and I'm going to attach the sides. There are a few ways that you can attach boards. We're going to do what I think is probably the simplest, cheapest way, is to drill a hole and screw a screw in. Make sure you're going straight. I kind of eyeball this. And then what I'm actually going to do is screw my first screw in so that I know the other hole that I drill, it's still lined up. Oh, I forgot the glue.
We've got the bottom, and then we've got the two sides. We've got it overhanging by 3/4 of an inch on both sides, okay? The reason for 3/4 of an inch is that that's how thick the wood you're using is. And so you can take a scrap piece, set it here, and then as long as you line up the end of the front with that, now it'll also line up on that end when you do the same thing down there.
Put a little mark here in the middle so that you
Yes.
know where you're going to be drilling your holes. Or you can mark it about an inch in. Inch in from here.
What are you trying to explain?
Don't drill into your finger, folks.
Thanks.
I mean, Steven.
Ah! Just kidding. Okay, let's see. Similar to Mandy, I just eyeball it. Hope for the best.
If you're not wanting to eyeball it, you could draw a line down.
Okay, so we've got the back, the sides, and the bottom assembled, and we're gonna leave the front off because it's a lot easier when you're attaching this to the house. It's easier to have access to this back panel as you're screwing through into whatever your house is made out of. It's easier to be able to screw through, and then you can attach the front after it's attached and affixed to your house. The other thing that could be of note, if you're gonna like stain it or paint it, and you're afraid of it messing up the house or something like that, you could at this point stain the front piece separately, then install it. You just have to be pretty careful as you're installing it that you're not rough with it, but that would allow you to paint or stain without it having any danger of getting on whatever you're affixing it to. That's our next step. We're just gonna work on getting this attached to the house.
We're attaching our window box directly to our house. However, most people use mounting brackets, which allow for some breathing room between their house and their window box. They're easier to install and easier to remove. I've linked to some below. So why did we choose to forego the brackets? Because we're trying to be cheap, we were impatient, and because we knew we weren't going to be taking the boxes back down anytime soon. We also weren't worried about the wood coming into direct contact with the exterior of our house since we used pressure-treated lumber.
We are here at the front of our house. We're gonna use a few different tools. The gist of it is you just wanna drill straight through your material into the wall behind it, and then you wanna fasten it straight to the wall. Mandy, you wanna jump in and help?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Oh, I almost fell.
That's all.
You should also probably wear work boots.
Never wear the flip-flops. Just a quick aside, so we're actually putting in 2 more inserts into ours because this is such a long window. I think it's 8 feet long. So we're actually gonna use the very edges to be like little tables for drinks and stuff like that. Hey! Hey, welcome to the table.
Thanks.
Table read.
We need to tell people to subscribe,
Subscribe.
to like us.
Oh yeah, smash that like button. What's the third thing?
The third thing is to tell people that we have plans available for this build.
If you watched our video and you thought you needed to go make one, not only do you have the exquisite instructions provided by seeing us fumble through it, you also have access to design drawings and plans that we have created
with our minds. And now you can have those
Yes. Yeah. For free.
for free.
Oh, and join our Patreon. What are we
Oh
gonna
my
do on
goodness.
Patreon?
On
we decided
Patreon,
yet?
we've got so many good things coming. I'm not going to tell you about any of them, but you should just know it's going to be great.
What?
All right? And that's a really special way that you can support us. And even more than that, it's a special way that you can connect with us and get access to things that would not be accessible if you were not supporting us on Patreon.
All right.
Anything else?
No, you want to try one more go? I'll stop it.
No. We nailed this.
Did we?